Welcome to the Bill Collector, where I'm Bill and I'm a collector. I got a special guest today, and he goes by the name Card Carver, but we'll let him tell you what his slave name and stuff is.
Besides the Card Carver?
Yeah, what's your real? Yeah, what's the family?
My friends call me Tommy or Tom.
Right on.
Yeah. I grew up north of Chicago in the suburbs of Illinois, and I moved to Maine shortly after I turned 13. And we moved to a really small town, and there was already a Tommy in my grade, so I became Tom. But when I go back home, I'm Tommy. So, so I do card art and I chop up cards. I recently started dabbling more with doing digital art and printing things, which is something I wanted to do for a while, but I just hadn't gotten to it because, as like a creative, there's always so many projects, and I still have a list a mile long that I haven't even touched of ideas and things I want to get to.
Yeah, that's same here, bro. You'll never get to it. I'll just tell you that right now.
Of course, I can see that. Yeah,
and it's cool though to have some kind of ambition, though. You know what I'm saying? So like if your wheels are spinning, at least just write that shit down. You know what I'm saying? Like so you don't lose it.
I've always kept notes like that. I used to sing and rap. I had a band for a while. I did that kind of stuff for a long time, when I was a teenager and into my 20s. I mean, I still dabble with it. I always will. Music will always be a part of me. So I was always making notes, even before the phones and stuff. I used to cook in a kitchen, and I'd be writing notes on, the slips or pieces of cardboard, or anything that I could really get my hands on. I would be writing lyrics down. And so that kind of carried over into this card art. When I started doing it, I did the same thing. Right, my phone, I create notes, Mickey Mantle with Elvis or whatever the note might be, so that I don't forget that.
Cool, dude.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and look, I'm just gonna come out and say this. I've seen your stuff. I love it. But I've seen your growth in this last. Look, I feel like this. I'm not going to say a boom, but the influx and the growth of card art started in COVID year.
Yeah.
The first COVID year, and so that's when you got to see all the personalities and everybody's kind of like styles like start and then like grow or not grow, whatever the progression was. And I have seen yours grow, and I have seen you're expanding on it, so that's cool, bro. I think look, who fucking cares what my opinion is, but I see a real artist in you, and I appreciate it, dude. So that's cool, bro. You're doing some cool stuff out there.
I appreciate that a lot, especially coming from you, because when I stumbled upon the card art, you were one of the first artists I saw, and right away I really liked just the whole style of what you brought to the table. And I was thinking about, I think that a big part of the allure to your artwork for me is the story. Your cards, you're not just making art, you're also creating stories, so like your cards that have the thread from the baseball that came from a little league game or wherever you found that ball, incorporating those into the cards, it's all part of that story and the presentation.
So cool. For me,
it's unique.
And the idea behind that is literally, we don't have fucking baseball cards if we don't have that. There's no baseball cards without a baseball. You can play catch without a glove, but you can't play catch without the baseball. So this leather thing with the string on it has created like fucking goddamn, dude, so like a century plus's worth of memories for like thousands, millions of kids. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so that for me, that's where this whole thing starts, is like from childhood, you know? And when you become an adult, and you have kids too, right?
Yeah, I have 3 of them. Yeah.
Yeah. So when you start adding kids to the mix, like the whole element of feeling like a kid goes away if you let it. And then the things that you liked to do when you were a kid kind of have to go on the back burner almost, because you're fucking changing diapers, you're running the kids, you're doing the kid dad life. And so you become, okay, well, I don't even want to say it, because I'm a dad too, but my kids are grown up, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
You can become less of yourself in parenthood.
For
You know
sure.
what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And so
I totally get it. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I don't want to put a negative connotation to it, but it does happen.
Yeah,
And
I've seen
so
it a lot. You hate to
yeah,
see
so
it.
right, and so finding the time for you, which I think is essential in your growth and your how your head is. Okay, so I'm gonna just lead that into this question right here,
Okay.
because they kind of like, there's no real order in which I can ask them, but since this is like where we're at right now, you being a dad, when do you find the time to, one, make your art and be creative, and two, to settle down and, you know, collect this rad stuff that you got in the background?
Um, Doing the art, a lot of times it's after dinner. It's late at night. Sometimes I bring my work out of the art room and sit at the dining room table while we all watch a movie. I'm sitting there and I'm cutting. You know,
That's it.
and I'm present. A lot of you can't really follow the movie, but instead of being down here in my art room, which is in the other room from here than where I have my display, um, which is just totally closed off. There's no windows in that room or anything. If Dad's down there, Dad's down there. So,
Yes.
you know, I even will sometimes, and I've talked to other artists about this. Like JJ Vinti, I talked to him. He says that when he sits down to create a piece, that he won't walk away from it. He just finishes that piece, which is no matter like how many hours it takes. Whereas I will take weeks or months to finish things because I have so many different things going, and because I also do work in bits and pieces. I might get off of work and go sit down for just 20, 30 minutes. Sometimes it's even less than that. If I have something that I'm specific that I'm working on, and I just little bits and pieces. I knock it out as I go and as I can, because with 3 kids, it's tough, you know.
Well, that's cool. And you kind of answered the where question on that too, because it sounds like it's wherever you can do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and
Yeah.
that's awesome that it's awesome that, like you said, so through it, you're not necessarily watching the movie, but you're present in the space with the family, so you are there. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
but so like if the kid bumped his head on the coffee table, they don't got to yank your ass out of the dungeon here to deal with that. You're right there, so that's rad. And that's kind of like for me, same thing, man. It's it. Look, my lady will be like, "Oh, you're always up in the office." Then I gotta move some of the production fucking downstairs. You know what I mean? And so, like
Yeah.
literally today, so the computer's sitting on this desk right here, and this desk I bought to put downstairs. So, like I said, my lady's watching a Netflix or whatever. I'm at the desk in the room. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
it just gets to a point where wow, dude, like I'm an artist, so like sometimes like that pile of shit just needs to stay that pile of shit where it's at until I get to it again.
Right.
And that doesn't look so sweet in the fucking living room. You know?
For sure. Yeah, that's how it
Yeah.
was when I started out. I just had like this little we have like this serving like liquor cabinet type thing,
Yeah.
and it was just covered with bits and pieces of cards, and it just kept growing and growing. And finally, it was like, okay, we need to find somewhere else for this to happen.
Yeah, yeah.
Luckily, I had the
So
space to do it. You know.
that no, and that's essential because you know what? All right, I don't, I don't know if you know this part of my story, but so like I collect Will Clark, so that's like an '80s thing for me. So the late '80s came around. I was skateboarding the whole '80s, so there was no baseball. It was little league, and then my early adolescence was skateboarding. So there's no baseball. There's nothing. I gave my bones and my skin to that, and then I got in trouble making stupid choices as a kid, and so the skateboarding is what was sacrificed in the mix. All right, so
Yeah. Yeah.
from one day to the next, I'm like a skater, and then I'm not, and they weren't gonna budge on giving that shit back. Okay,
Right.
so I had to find something else to do. You know what I'm saying? And so literally it was, well, fuck it. I played baseball as a kid. I'm gonna go back and play some baseball. And when I do shit, dude, I do it real hard. You know what I mean? Like I don't. If I choose to do something, I go balls deep. And so with baseball, it got to be like following stats and looking at shit like that, looking at box scores, and then collecting the baseball cards was like literally the next thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And just a whole new world expanded just from baseball cards. All right, the interest, like, and everything that goes with baseball was that torch was lit, and so all my artistic expression just started going that way, and then shit, I was a dad at 19, you know, so it's just compounding these bad choices and shit.
Right.
And then when you're a dad, you just have to do what you got to do. And like I said, there was baseball cards ended in 1992. And then I started back up in 2016, and that's kind of where I'm at. So I had one folder of Will Clarks in 2016, and then the beast that's behind me now. So I just went in real hard with collecting because it's like an attachment to my childhood. It's like that. It's an innocent thing. You know, it's innocent. Like there's nothing bad comes from hanging out with your friends, talking baseball, and trading baseball cards.
Yeah.
Elaborate on that because I saw some dope shit in that case the other day. You showed me with some Ted Williams autographs, and you told me you got those a long time ago. So it sounds like your collecting runs deep. So tell me about that.
It does. It really started with my mom and my grandma, you know, and also the fact that my Uncle Bill played baseball. And, you know, when I was probably no older than 8, I was told that my grandma had something special for me up in the attic, and that when I was old enough, I would have it. And it wound up being a box that had like, I don't know, maybe like 5 baseballs, 3 to 5 balls. I forget exactly how many were in there. And there was a couple team sign balls of the Red Sox from the 50s. And there was a team sign ball of the Cardinals, which I pinpointed to a specific year I believe in the 30s. And it was in between years of them winning the World Series with Stan Musial and Harry Walker on the sweet spot. Um, and you know,
Damn, that's
so my grandma was also a collector of cut glass, and my mom was kind of a collector of random things like political buttons, presidential pins, you know,
sure.
the campaign pins, which are actually pretty rad, and
Super
coins,
rad.
coins a little bit, you know. So I collected all those things too. Coins. I collected comics as a kid, stickers. You probably had sticker books. We had albums that
Yep.
we put our stickers in that we got all the time.
Yep.
Um, so yeah, I have always been a collector, and it was instilled in me pretty early. And yeah, that's the gist of it. It's a family
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. So I see a lot of collections on Instagram, And yours, and trust me, bro, like some ridiculous ones. Like some people think my Will Clark shit is ridiculous, and it is. But it's
It
just
is.
fucking basic
It's so
facts, bro.
awesome.
It's fucking ridiculous. Okay, it's super dorky and all that. But your collection to me doesn't come off as and I don't know what's behind the scenes, bro. I ain't even a fucking ass, but what you show of this Billy stuff, bro, it's there's so much more connection to it than anybody else's collection that I see. So like what okay, okay. What we do with these collections, we're trying to like, okay, for me it's like tapping into my past, you know, those good old days, baseball, fucking summer, blue skies, clouds, all that shit.
Yeah.
And we're, you know, so when I'm a kid, I'm collecting because I want like that's almost as close as you can get to your favorite player. You know what I'm saying? Like in your idol worship, it's like that's as close as, and then the next step is if you have an if you can get an autograph, that's like, oh shit, you're connecting yourself more. And then here I go, and honestly, it's literally because of art that I know Will Clark as a person now.
Yeah.
Fucking nuts. And they say you don't want to meet your heroes because you'll be disappointed. And I was not disappointed. He's one of the coolest people ever. All that shit.
That's awesome.
Then your collection comes in, and it's a family member. And okay, this is what I love even more about it. He wasn't a mega star, and he played on the team with the mega star. But I feel like his items are more rare than Ted Williams stuff. They have to be, right?
They are. It's frustrating, but it makes it sweeter in the end when I do find items. But things I've been looking for his game used bat now for 7 years or more since I like really started to get back into collecting, which is funny. You and I got it back into it about the same time. I stopped collecting the towards the end of the 90s, mid to late 90s.
Yeah.
When MJ retired for me, I was like about 17 or 18. I was kind of at that age where I was growing out of it and getting into other things, and
Yes.
the
Yes.
collecting faded away. And when my first son was old enough to start playing baseball, you start to play baseball, well, you start to open packs of cards, you start to
Yeah.
collect.
Yeah.
And he started to collect, and he's ran with it. He has more cards than I currently do, probably.
Yeah. That's dope, dude. So in that regard, I went through a really shitty divorce in the mid 2000s, and dude, so my daughter was 10 when that happened, so that was devastating to our relationship. And then my son was 3, so it wasn't devastating to our relationship, but like if you don't get to be there with your kids all the time, weekend parenting, you ain't fitting that much in. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like,
Yeah, I would imagine.
yeah, so my kids still played baseball, so it was like, all right, he's with me, but we still got to go do that thing. You know what I'm saying? So the
Yeah,
weekends were filled with more mania and running around than sitting down and collecting baseball cards. You know what I
right.
mean? My name is, I was born William. I grew up Billy, but I call my son Will for Will Clark. I mean, it worked out just perfect. You know what I'm saying? Like, it really fucking did.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and so we didn't collect baseball cards, and that was like I feel like I missed out, but it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
so you getting to do that with your son is pretty fucking dope.
Yeah, they both my sons now come to card shows with me. River, the older one, gets his own table with his friend. We shared a table at his first show, and then the last show I decided not. I just wanted to walk around and just be social. and network.
Yeah.
And him and his buddy shared the table. They wound up in the news. We all wound up in the newspaper. They did a write up on us and everything. It was pretty fun.
Sick, dude.
Yeah, they're taking pictures of them, and they used the photo of my son in the paper and everything. It was pretty awesome.
Bro, that's dope. Yeah, because look, bro, like you said, we get to that age where then we rather be doing other things than fucking with the cardboard. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, for sure.
And it kind of like, I don't know, missing out on the 90s in card collecting. I mean, 92, that was the beginning. The 90s were insane with cards and the options of the cards you could have, like, because all the companies were still in effect. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And after Upper Deck came out, everybody had to up the ante with the product. You know what I mean? And then it was like, okay, you had Topps and they'd have an all-star set. Well, Topps always had a shitload, dude. The KBs, the Toys R Us's, Topps always had a slew of cards. But when Fleer and them started coming out with, like, each card company had 10 different sets, and then that's what led to the boom. You know what I mean? The crash of cards, like, no value, too much shit on the market.
Yep. Yeah. Circling back to the rarity of the Billy Klaus items.
Oh, like, awesome. Yes, please.
The game used items, nobody was thinking to save a Billy Klaus bat, but everybody thought to save a Mickey Mantle bat. Yeah, you're going to save a Mickey Mantle. You're going to save a Ted Williams. Billy Klaus was more the player that probably walked out of the clubhouse and handed his bats out to the kids, and those bats got used in the streets just playing sandlot games and things like that. And just over time, they just disappeared, you know. That's just what it is. That's at least that's what I've learned at this point, because I have not found one. But in that hunt for that bat, I obtained the 1957 road jersey, which I'm like I still really want the bat. The jersey is arguably it might be cooler, but
yeah,
anyway,
it might be. Look at the way it's in that case right there, bro.
I can't believe that I own that jersey. The case is from IKEA, and I came across that case. It got recommended, or I saw photos of it in a Facebook group, a baseball collector group. They actually don't carry these anymore. I wish that I had bought another one of them.
It looks perfect in there too.
You know, and I wanted the gray, and they didn't have the gray. And when I got there and I saw the green, I knew it was like the monster. Like, it has that vintage green. It
looks old.
It's so baseball, that vintage green. You know, it just makes you think of a ballpark. Yes.
Absolutely, dude.
I can turn that a little bit more.
Oh yeah, dude. That there in the corner looks so sick, bro.
So I just got. What did I do? Oh. So here's an example. I don't know how well you can. So this is the 57.
That's nice.
So that's his 57 Topps card, and he's wearing his road jersey. They only got like a couple jerseys per season back then. So the odds that that jersey is the jersey on this card is really, really high. When I put those two together, it took like a week or two of me having this jersey before I realized. I was like, holy shit. Like,
you get 50-50 or 33% chance that they got 2 or 3.
It's more than likely that jersey. Because I don't think they replaced them back then unless they absolutely had to. Most of the time, at the end of the season, they would often repurpose them. They'd take the numbers off and send them down to the minor leagues, and the minors would renumber them and use them. That's what happened most of the time.
Wow, dude. Yeah, you're really lucky then, man. Really lucky. That's awesome you got that, dude.
Yeah, it took a while to work out the deal, too. It was months, and it wasn't because the guy, you know, like a lot of bartering. It was just me taking my time and making sure that if I was going to buy an item like this for the amount that I spent on it, which wasn't like a crazy amount of money, but it was enough that you want to make sure you're doing it right, going over over Facebook with a stranger. But it turned out that the guy that I was talking to, his uncle owns a estate auction company. I think it was in Pennsylvania somewhere, and they had obtained the jersey through those estate sales, and I wound up doing the whole transaction through that auction, through that estate business. So it was all
Dude,
wound up being all super legit and super smooth.
it's actually cool that it went that route, because it seems like it might have been like, what am I trying to? It just was safer with them and how they did it, I suppose.
Yeah, maybe I felt so much better about it because it still felt kind of funny up until like a certain point when I was like, oh, okay, so this guy's uncle actually owns this business that I can find online, and we're going to process. Right. They're going to take my credit card over the phone and run it through this business. I was like,
yes.
Yeah.
How long have you had that?
Probably like a year and a half or so.
Sick, dude. Yeah. So you kind of answered a couple questions when you talked about like what you collected. That seemed like you grew up collecting all kinds of shit when you were a kid.
I did, for sure.
Yeah. So like me, it was like G.I. Joes and Star Wars and
yes,
Marvel Comics figures, and so I did, man. It's like I've always been collecting something. I didn't just like throw my toys in a fucking box, dude. I had a shelf and I stood those motherfuckers up before I went to bed type shit. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. I've always like, I don't know if it's hoarding. I don't know what it is. I just like the way to organize the things that I collect. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't just, like I said, it's not just thrown together, dude. Like I'm kind of snobby about how my shit is in my binders, and when I see people and they just got like, oh look, I got these cards, and it's like, bro, you got a card from 87, 92, 97, and like I'm gonna be a dick in my brain, like critiquing people's shit, you know what I mean? Like, just fucking don't do that. But so like I have a certain way, and it looks like you do too, man. And and just from this corner that I can see, it's clean.
I don't know. I appreciate. I don't know. I could show more moving the camera around. I don't know.
Yeah, please do, man.
I was gonna say I don't know how well it looks on your end or not.
Hey, no, it looks great.
I should have knocked that beforehand. Try to keep kids' hands out of there.
Oh yeah.
So you can see there's. I don't know if you can see the damage on the top here of the shoulder. Yep. But I mean, there's some things that are just so cool. I wish you could really see the detail on the buttons. I don't know if you can see that.
Is that a hemp jersey?
It's a flannel.
Oh, okay.
Yep, they were wearing flannels back then. It's kind of a blue and a gray mix.
Yeah, it's a great looking material.
I can't
40 shit. He was a small guy, man.
5'8", I think he was. Scrappy. That's what they called him, Mighty Mouse. He was a scrappy little utility infielder, spark plug kind of guy that you wanted on your team.
Because I feel like that 40 is the size, huh?
Yeah, that is. And 57's the year.
Yeah, my fat ass was wearing a 42 at 17 years old.
These are the baseball.
Oh, dude.
Those are two cards that I had Ted sign for me.
Dude, those are epic.
These were the baseballs. That one. These are both Red Sox 50s team sign balls. Can you see those? Good.
I can. Yep, those are sweet.
That's the Harry Walker with Stan Musial. Stan is really faded, but that ball's from the 30s.
Dude, so this is the stuff you got from your grandparents?
Some of it is. It's a mix. That Stan Musial and Harry Walker ball is my grandma got that. I have a handwritten note from my grandmother talking about that baseball. She said she got it at Wrigley Field when she was 11.
Dude, Holy smokes, man.
This is a 1950 Milwaukee, I think, Milwaukee Brewers, 1952. I can't remember the year, but it's a minor league 1952 baseball with my uncle's name on it. And just an assortment of baseballs with his signature that I've bought in the past like 5 years or so.
Dude, man. The fact that that's still out there.
His brother played too. He had a younger brother, Bobby. I've been collecting some items of his when they pop up.
Hey, so what side of the family is he from?
My grandma, it's my mom's sister's husband.
Hey, is that last name of yours Greek?
No, it's not.
Trip.
It's Norwegian. Originally, it was Fallos' son. It was
okay.
It was shortened to Ellis Island.
Got you. All right. Dude.
You ever seen one of these? Swift?
No, what the hell is that?
Oh man, I wish I could remember the year, but it's a 1950 something Swift meets baseball player. This is Jimmy Pearsall.
Dude, that's epic, bro. Dude, that's such a unique collector's item right there.
It looks like it could be my uncle. The name's on the bottom, so there's no jersey number. You could tell it's Red Sox, and the price was just right on this thing. So those things, you should look those up. They're really cool. They came flat, and you pop the player pieces out.
What did you call that again?
Swift meets.
Swift meets.
Yeah. I thought it'd be cool to try and create like new versions of that, actually.
It looks very simple to do.
Yeah, it would be very simple to do if you have all the right tools and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're really cool. This bat I bought has Ted.
Dude, man.
Okay.
What? Dude, so okay, you said you're looking for a game used. That's what you're trying.
I want a bat that he swung in a game, Him and Ted chilling.
Dude, I mean, just to think, bro, that's your blood right there, man.
It's him smashing Yogi Berra.
Nice. Oh yeah, he did lay him out, didn't he?
Yeah. This is an original pencil drawing for the Dallas Star Journal, I think it was called, or something.
Shit, dude.
From the 50s.
It looks clean, that floating frame too.
Yeah, it came out looking real nice. 1950.
So, okay, what team was he playing on?
He played for so many teams, man. I'm telling you, I was thinking about this recently. He's kind of like, in a way, like the Forrest Gump of baseball in some ways.
Yeah.
You know how Forrest Gump was in that movie? He's a part of all these like random, really cool, interesting moments of history.
Yes.
And it's kind of the same. My great uncle had like a good handful of those type of baseball moments. That one, 1950, he was in the minor leagues playing for the Dallas Eagles. He started out in the minors in 1947 as a 17-year-old, straight out of high school.
Shit.
I don't even know if he'd finished high school, to be honest with you, when he was drafted, because he got drafted by Cleveland. They figured out he was too young, and he wound up with the Chicago Cubs. And the first minor league team he played on was for the Centralia, Illinois, Chicago Cubs. Well, the Centralia Cubs.
Sure.
And he wound up in Appleton, which is where Ted Williams had played many years before that. He played in Toledo, which was, I think, Ohio. He played in Clinton, Iowa for the Clinton. Also for the Cubs, it was the Clinton Cubs. He played in 1 year for the Springfield Cubs the only year that team existed, which was Springfield, Massachusetts. And they played in Portland, Maine, against a team called the Maine Pilots, which I have the like a scorebook from that game, actually. Dude. So, which is a really random, just odd thing, because I was born and raised in Illinois, moved to Maine. I did live in Boston for a while, and the first hat that I had, fitted ball cap, was given to me by my uncle, and it was a Red Sox cap. And who knew that at like 8 years old, I'd end up living in Boston and live in New England for the rest of my life, probably. But yeah, so he played on all these different teams, and he started in the minors at 47. He didn't make it to the majors until 55. So he played all over.
Hey, can you still hear me, bro?
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can.
Okay,
yeah.
There was a lapse for a second there.
Okay.
So, dude, yeah, he played for an incredible amount of teams. And, I mean, the guy played some form of professional baseball from 1947 till the mid to late 60s. He played in Puerto Rico in the winter leagues. You know, when he was younger, before he even broke into the majors, he was going to Puerto Rico and playing down there. I found a photograph of Willie Mays standing and talking to the manager, and just on the corner of the picture, looking over, is my Uncle Bill. They're all in their same.
You're right. You're right about the Forrest Gump. Like I'm now seeing it like that, dude. Like in the background of bitchin' things happening and shit, dude.
He was on the 1960 or 61 Washington Senators expansion team, and the opening season game in Washington, JFK was there, and my uncle was there. And there's footage. I find footage of that day.
Just like that, Forrest Gump.
There he is. It wasn't even really like that, but yet, like, there was like this little clip. I don't think you could hear him talking, but a quick clip, very clear. Billy Klaus.
Sick, dude.
He played with and was friends with Ted Williams from 55 to 58, 4 seasons in Boston. And he befriended Ted. They would fish in Florida and stuff together and play golf together. And my uncle was on third base for the Orioles when Ted hit his final home run in his final at bat in Baltimore.
What?
Another
wow.
Another Forrest moment. And he didn't start that game. They brought him in off the bench, and he just happened to be on third as Ted. There's video of that. I don't think it's clear enough to tell that it's my uncle, but he goes around the bases.
That's super insane, dude. That's so to me, that's why your collection stands out like a lot, because like I said, I see them all. I have a great collection. I see the Oakland A's collection. I see the Ricky Henderson guy, but I don't know one person that has the connection to the game. And so it's also the vintage collection too. So these items that you're seeing right here, I mean, that jersey, bro, you're so lucky you found that. You know what I mean? Like,
I know. And I know it too, man. I don't take it for granted. A lot of things had to fall in place for me to just obtain this jersey, you know.
We sit there and trip out on, oh man, one of one like cards that you get from Topps. And dude, that's whack. That's so. This is, like I said, I'm just spitting my opinions, but there's no value in that to me, whether it's fucking Wander Franco or whether it's the next guy. That jersey that's 101, bro. I'm sorry. That's like, and the fact that he was just like your scrapster on the team that played around all kinds of places. Like Ted Williams played his entire career in Boston, and like you said, they're saving Ted Williams jerseys. They're not saving Billy Klaus jerseys. So that with the tattered shoulder, everything about that is one of the most epic personal collection pieces I've ever seen. and I've seen a lot, dude. So yeah, congratulations on that, bro.
I appreciate it, man. It is amazing. Seeing it in person is even better too. You know, being able to really let your eyes dig into like the texture of the flannel and the layers of, you know, the flannel letters on top of them, and like
Oh yeah,
the buttons in person have kind of like a what would you call it? Kind of like an oyster type of finish, like a open
sure,
look.
sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know if that comes through on the camera or not, but
Not just some shit plastic button.
yeah, they're really cool.
Well, it looks like there's also a patch on it that it was made locally as well. So it wasn't like some big conglomerate like right now it's Nike is making all the jerseys for everybody. They sourced a local manufacturer to make the jerseys for the team. That's dope.
Yeah, you know, I'm not positive. I think that company made jerseys for other teams. I'm not positive.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but either way, it's really cool that a company in Boston was making the jerseys at that time. Either way,
Yeah.
Yeah, man. The random moments, and you asked what team he played for in that newspaper pencil drawing I have. That was the 1950 Dallas Eagles, and that team either on opening day or as like a preseason game, they played an old timers game that had Ty Cobb and some other, I can't remember all the other names. Ty Cobb was the big draw, but there was some other few like Hall of Famers on there, like big guys.
It's dope you brought Ty Cobb up too, because I was gonna get to that. A couple years ago, I got to do some work for his granddaughter Cindy.
Really?
And she asked me to paint a portrait of her old man, and so this is like when being an artist is like, this is when it starts to get trippy, when you start to like deal with the ancestors of legends, okay? Right. And so one of the things that she had mentioned to me was, she goes, every artist seems to exaggerate his ears, okay? She says Pop didn't like that. You know what I mean? Like every picture, she's like, he fucking hated that shit.
No kidding.
She goes, and this is when we're talking about the details on shit that they want in the painting. And so she basically didn't want me to give fucking Pop big ass ears, all right? So I respected that, and so, okay, blah, 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 this and that. And then she flew out to LA because she lives in the Hamptons. And she flew out to LA to get this painting from me. So I met her at a hotel at LAX and had lunch with her and presented her this painting. And then when I pulled it out of the bag, she started to cry. And that hit me right here. You know what I mean? Because it wasn't like, oh man, you made my grandpa look like a fucking asshole. It was like, you did it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And yeah, so that was rad, dude. Like getting to meet these people that Ty Cobb's a pedestal guy. You know what I mean? Like he's like up here in baseball. And anyways, just to get to be able to, this is what I'm getting at. As an artist that collects, you also get to place things in collectors' homes. And this is what I'm trying to find. I'm trying to find adventurous collectors. I'm sure you are too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because bringing these handmade items into the home is adventurous to some people. Some people are wild, like, fuck yeah, dude, I want some baseball art handmade by you. But there's this element like what we make isn't official.
Right.
Do you feel that at all? People want license. They want, bro, that's not what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? So like I don't want people that don't want it or appreciate it or don't even understand it. but I don't want people, and you feel this too, creeping into your inbox like I'm just the same as the next guy.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Elaborate on.
So
I'm sure it to you. You know what I'm saying? Like, because we are not the same as the next guy.
I appreciate hearing that come from you. The fact that you hold me in that regard, because to me, you're on a whole nother level. But yeah, I hold myself in that regard. I hope that any artist holds themselves in that regard, right? You know, if you're really making art that you deem worthy of people purchasing, and as you said, placing in their homes, you know, and you definitely do encounter that. There's very little in like gray area there. It's either they want the license or they're down with the art. There is some in between guys. I shouldn't say that because there are guys that do both, but a lot of times it's very cut and dry, you know. And I've learned like locally, as mentioned before, I go to shows, and I think that in the long run, that's going to be a big part of my success is my ability just to network and to move in a room, and the network that I already have that I built over the years, not just in cards, but just like in the music industry, in the nightlife industry, and people that have grown into all types of different roles in those areas that I'm still very friendly with. And, you know, some of my best friends work in those areas, which can be very beneficial. But the guys that I know locally, there's certain guys that I don't even really bother to show them my new stuff. I already know that it's not their thing, and that's okay. You know, because there's plenty of guys that do want to see my stuff. They're dying to see my shit when I walk through the door. You know, they can't wait to see what I've got in my case that I bring with me.
So I noticed you you made a placement. Is that place called the Vault?
It's called Card Vault. Yeah.
Card Vault.
Yep. So, and that was my first time actually going to that shop. I had heard of it, and I mean you could tell by just the appearance of the store and everything they have going on there that it's very nice. Their marketing, everything that they have going on with that place is top shelf. They do things right. It's at Foxborough, so it's at Patriots Place. So when you pull into like the main road for, you know, the stadium that the Pats play in, you're pulling right into there, and you turn, and there's a little shopping, kind of like a walking outdoor shopping type area. Mm-hmm. And that's where their storefront is. Like,
it looks dope, bro.
It's so sick in there. I was really happy to make that happen. Part of that happening was because of my connections in the nightlife industry, and one of my best friends being a longtime, like, beloved VIP host in the nightlife industry in Boston. So I really just started to utilize that weekend where I went to Boston. COVID really effed things up, you know, for a lot of things. And it was my first time in Boston in a couple of years. And I finally at a point with my art where I felt comfortable enough to start, you know, utilizing some of my network. You know, when I came, I wanted to come correct, not like, oh, hey, I just started doing this. So I've got my feet on the ground now, and I want to start to run with it.
Yeah, that's dope because I feel like that specific place is the perfect place for what you're doing because it doesn't have growing up in the baseball card shops that I used to go, some of them motherfuckers were dusty as shit, dude, and like.
Yeah.
Like actually, like it was like a couple of cases tucked into like an antique shop is what it was. You know what I mean? And so that place seems like the higher end kind of like is more accepting to that higher end product. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I just think it's fitting the outside of that place, the way it looks, and then the inside. How it looks. Anyways, I'm happy for you that you got that because I want to go to some of the local shops around here, but it ain't just like storming in kicking the fucking door down, be like, hey, show my fucking shit. It's gonna be more like, do I want to show it here?
Right. I'm sure that you have an idea of an approach, but like the first thing that just comes to my mind is go to a trade night or something, and just get a feel for the real vibe in that room. The trade night is going to be where like they're kind of regular guys that are coming in all the time are going to show up, and I think you get a real feel for like the sense of kind of like community and the vibe, basically.
Okay, cool. So that's reassuring because my pessimistic ass takes me to the negative like right away. So I'm like, okay, bro. I hope see, when I was a kid, card shops were, oh man, I feel like I got the cool innocent part, and then the tail end was the skeevy end of cards. Okay, it's like the people just just bamboozle you. And so the taste I have in my mouth with what and I'm going to do this, call the hobby, I feel like card flipping and the flippers and the rippers and the all those guys that are doing the internet ripping flipping thing are being lumped into the collecting hobby. And I find those two separate entities.
Yeah.
That's how I feel. I feel like you got to be kind of a connoisseur to be a collector with a nice collection. And then when I see these people like, oh, I collect cards, bro, everything you have is from 2022 and 2019. That's not anything to me. So I don't like even walking into the room with that vibe is like, oh fuck, dude. Because all these guys they all think they're junior fucking businessmen, Gary V's, and I love Gary V. Don't get me wrong, but this new culture is like, dude, we can't all be hustlers. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I hear you, and it can't all be shiny. It doesn't all need to be shiny. Just talking about the new stuff, because I feel that because obviously I really love vintage.
Yes,
I like the newer cards that some newer cards that incorporate the vintage look, and that's something that I've started to do with making the tobacco cards finally.
Right. That's pretty dope, bro.
I appreciate that. It's discouraging to me walking around card shows. It'll just be the whole room is just all modern. There'll be a handful of cases that have some vintage, and by vintage that typically means like 80s, and there might be one or two guys that have a little bit of like 60s or pre-60s stuff, but you're only going to see a few cards that are of that era, really, typically. But I guess that that's where the hobby is, which is okay.
Yeah,
for me. That's okay to me. It makes hunting for the vintage a little more fun.
Yeah, it will. For me, I as a Will Clark collector, the card companies fucking know the Will Clark collectors are still alive, so they know to put the product out there. So it's cool that in 2022 there's still offerings to put in my collection, and that kind of leads me to like how Will Clark is a very underappreciated player that way. I'm saying we, so I'm going to put me in the group of the known Will Clark collectors that I know of. There's a Facebook page, and it's just under 300 collectors on that page. All right, this is in 2022. That's a lot of people, okay?
Yeah.
And we wouldn't still be on that tip if Will Clark wasn't hard as fuck. You know what I'm saying? Like, if he wasn't hard as fuck is what I'm getting at. And so him not being in the Hall of Fame is kind of a bust. But at the same time, for me, what that has done is it's made all of this stuff obtainable.
Right. Yeah.
you know, and so that's the beneficial part. Like Hall of Fame, Hall of Shmame, whatever the fuck, dude. Now it's a political thing. So how you get in there from here on out, who knows? Because the 500 home run guys, they're gone. Like after Miggy, who's going to hit 500? I mean, Giancarlo Stanton is at like 350. That guy can't stay healthy if his life depended on it. So he's going to have to put together a string of like injury-free years to possibly hit that. Mike Trout's in the early 300s on his home runs. So like Mike Trout can't stay injury-free.
No.
And then the way the game has changed now, where like, all right, bro, you ain't hitting good against this guy. You're not in the lineup today. That makes a difference because like the Ted Williams, if he wasn't injured, he was in the lineup every single day. It wasn't like, and so like if Will Clark was, okay, how can I explain this? Will Clark was in a lineup every single day, whether he was slumping or not, because at that point, he's due. He's always going to be due if he's in a slump. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how it works up. It's like, okay, he's been in a slump for 2 weeks. He's fucking due. You don't take the guy out, but that's the way the game's played now. So the Hall of Fame aspect is going to have to change. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're going to have to, 300 wins is out the window, bro. I feel like, so like Clayton Kershaw and the Justin Verlanders, they're like the last of, and the Max Scherzers are the last of the innings eaters baseball players. And so they're going to have to amend what they are going to let in the Hall of Fame. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
Like 160 wins. That's what Clayton Kershaw has. Did he not have a solid fucking career? Was he not the best of his generation? Like, so he's gonna get in 5 years after he retires because that's the way the game's played now.
Right.
And but like I said, I think they should start with like those fringe players. Do like Mattingly. Like Don Mattingly's still so popular today. It's ridiculous. I sell more Don Mattingly stuff than I sell anything else.
I bet.
Yeah. I mean, and Mattingly's been retired for a long time. But he won 9 Gold Gloves. He was a dominant player. He was an all-star, 6 or 7 times. It's called the Hall of Fame. If you're an all-star 6 times, you're fucking famous.
Yeah.
I mean, let's just face it.
For sure.
Yeah, so do you think that the Hall of Fame should amend some of these numbers that were like guarantees? Because we'll never see another Hall of Famer. I mean, at that point.
I mean, they'll have to. They'll have to change the standards will have to change to reflect the game. If guys just can't reach those numbers, like you said, what are they just going to be like? Well, it's going to be induction weekend soon, but we don't have anybody, so I don't know what we're doing here in Cooperstown.
Right? Yeah, because like all right, Barry Bonds and them, they did steroids, and that's why they're keeping them out. But like now, what you're doing is you're eliminating an entire block of players. Like that class of players from like 85 to 2000, bro, absolute rippers. I mean, like I can't stand Jose Canseco, but let's just remember what he did in the game.
Sammy too.
Let's remember what McGuire did. Bonds, Clemens. So fuck Palmeiro. That motherfucker could not be in the Hall of Fame forever. Fuck that motherfucker. But like everybody else that did steroids, you're gonna have to like fuck it, put them in their own wing. But anyways, dude,
I completely agree with that. Give them their own wing. Acknowledge it because it was absolutely electric. Sammy Sosa and Mark McGuire and the home run race, what that did for that, however many few year window or a couple years, whatever it was, where those guys were just crushing it. It saved baseball in a way, because that wasn't that after the strike or before?
Yes. Yeah, it was after the strike, dude.
And that was the only thing that made me remotely interested in baseball. And
No,
honestly,
you're
I turned my back to it for a long time. The year of the strike, I was like 13 years old, and Frank Thomas was like my favorite player at the time. Him and Griffey Jr. were on pace to hit, like, to break the home run records. Tony Gwynn was hitting 400. I don't remember the other accolades that and who was on track to
oh,
get them,
yeah,
but
yeah.
those ones, those
Matt
stand
Wynn
out to me.
was pushing for 61. I mean, it was people were doing things, and that strike happened the year my daughter was born. So like already when '94 was happening, I was already like not even like that. My lady's knocked up. That's where my focus is. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
it broke my
Well,
heart.
baseball was like way out there, and the only thing I heard of baseball that year was that they were in strike. So I was like, fuck baseball. And then that strike rolled into '95 too. So it was a perfect time for me to not care about it. And then getting to what we were just talking about, when McGuire and Sosa were doing it was hard. You couldn't even escape it, bro. So I was glued to the TV just like everybody else, like, what the fuck? Like bonkers shit. So yeah, it did. It saved the game.
I've got a vintage now. It was my dad's Cub shirt from the mid '90s that I'm still rocking now. I think it says, I haven't busted it out yet here for summer yet. It says Slam and Sammy or something like that.
Nice.
It's a great shirt. But you know, the Cubs won't even let him back. It like won't even have him at Wrigley. No association at all. They ought to just give him there ought to be a statue of him doing the hop, the Sammy hop after he. Come on, man. Come on, bring back Sammy.
Well, see, my issue with it is baseball, and they've done this they do it all the time with every seeming scandal. They know it's happening, and then when it's exposed, they act like they didn't know it's happening, and so they abuse the revenues, and then slap the players that were providing all the shine with suspensions and like I said, not going to the Hall of Fame, and they turn them into pariahs. And and look, I've gotten to know athletes through this art thing, and then also through when I was a kid, we were some fucking hella sneaky autograph seekers, okay? So we'd be 16. We had an older friend, and he'd drive us to the hotels where the players were staying. And I just, like I said, sneaky, bro. I mean, I'd end up in bars as a child in between players getting autographs and shit. Like I was just slipping anyway. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So like, and that was with a ton of teams. Like one time I slipped in, I end up in the elevator standing right next to Darryl Strawberry, and I don't even talk to him until we hit the last floor. And then I bust out the card with a Sharpie, and he starts laughing. He goes, man, ain't it too late for you to be out? I'm like, man, I just want your autograph, Darryl. He goes, what's your name, kid? And he signs my card. I said, it's Bill. He goes, I'm going to call you Penthouse Bill. And he walked out the elevator. I went down the elevator, and that was that. You know what I'm saying? Just like late nights being fucking sneaky and having fun getting autographs. So I just kind of like, I was able to build up a confidence around people of higher stature than me. You know what I'm saying? And living in LA, I just grew up meeting celebrities and shit like that. And baseball being a sport, it's so easy to get caught up in just taking a supplement that makes you bigger, faster, and stronger and richer, and that's what it was. It provided excitement, and it wasn't illegal at the time. And I don't know, bro. So that's my Hall of Fame rant is that, dude. Like, let's change that shit.
Yeah, they're gonna have to.
Yeah. Well,
sure.
So I believe I asked. So the questions I asked you seem like two of them you answered in one paragraph. So I'm done asking those questions of you. And I mean, make a long story short, I appreciate you, bro. I really do. Carving out time like this is I don't know. It's dope of you. I appreciate it, dude.
Yeah, no, I'm likewise, man. Right back at you.
Yeah, so I'm gonna just end it right there. I appreciate it, and we'll have to do this again. Look, I'm going to this platform, no filter is pretty cool because of the eyes that watch.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying? And so everybody that's investing in this thing is the shit that we do. Okay, so I'd like to talk to you again, just for the fuck of it, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, dude, I'm totally into it. I enjoyed this.
Yeah, because I like your like I said, I like your collection. I like you, and I like your vibe. I don't like everybody, bro. I'm not too much of a social person. So talking with people that have the same energy as me. You didn't turn it on when the camera came on, so I like that realness. You know what I'm saying? Like it seems like when the camera comes on, something comes out of people, and I'm just not like that. I like when the camera goes off, I'm just the same me like you see it right here. So I feel like you're the same.
Cool. Yeah, I try. It's funny because I've grown to be more comfortable. I'm still not really completely comfortable in front of the camera.
Yeah, me either.
But I do. I try to just be me. I'm what It's what you get.
Yeah, because like a lot of what we do is it's within closed doors and behind walls. You know what I'm saying? So it's easy for me to stay very, very private. I got no problem long periods of time by myself, not talking. But like in this thing that we're doing, I want to promote card art because I think it's a real thing. You know what I'm saying? And it was.
I agree 100%.
And it was cool to be part of something like, not that we invented anything, but we brought it to the surface, and that's something that's hard to do.
Yeah.
In this world where everything's been done 15 times over.
Yeah, for sure.
So I want to congregate with these people within that realm, just to bring light to it. And you're one of the stars in my opinion, bro. So
I appreciate that, man. I strive for it. I really want to be at a place where I can kind of, and I already do it in my own way.
Yeah.
Represent the community and what all of us are doing. When I walk into a card show, it's not just the card carver, it's the whole movement.
Dude, right. And so it's funny because we'll just do this one last thing. There was like before COVID happened, 2019 seemed like shit was yeah, dude, dope. There's this place out here called Baseball Central in LA, and they're like a baseball instructional facility, batting cage, run by the son of a former major league player and manager named TJ Runnels. And what's cool about them is he's another kid like us. And I say kid, like, are you in your 40s yet, or are you in your late
40? I'm 42. Yep.
Okay. So like there's this age bracket that we're in, and we're not just like dorky baseball players. Okay, we're baseball players that like the whole culture of baseball and the art and all of the things that go along with it. Okay, so TJ and them, they love baseball art, and they buy baseball art from all kinds of people. And so they wanted to bring light to the baseball art community. And so they had an art show on their premises. And that was the first time I'd ever been a part of a baseball themed art show.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And I've been showing for a long freaking time, a long time. So I'm the whole exhibiting thing. That's what I fucking do. I feel like Me making the art's only a smidgen. The other part is making it look fucking dope where people could see it. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, hell yeah.
And so we got there, and I'm the OG exhibitionist of the baseball artists. Okay, because my baseball art's been at the Museum of Tolerance. I had an exhibition there for 6 months with the entire top floor with my baseball shit. And so setting that up and making sure everything looks right, that's kind of part of the art. You know what I mean? Like the way you have your baseball stuff back there, that's an exhibition type of thing. You know what I'm saying? Like you set it up in a way where people like it. So anyways, we do the art show and I get there and I see the other 5 artists that were there setting their stuff up, and boy, they were like, man, really having a hard time setting it up. And I got there like the 3-ring fucking circus, dude. I got boxes and I got tables, I got walls, I got all kinds of fucking shit. And next thing you know, my stuff's set up, and then I'm like seeing them like, shit, like. So the exhibiting part is like, to me, that's the next step. You know what I mean? Like getting your art into the real world, not just virtual, not just Instagram, not just Facebook, but like you said, getting out there and shaking the hands and meeting the people and getting the names physically is the next thing. And that's what got fucked up over the last couple of years, was that aspect. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. I don't know if I've got pieces at Cards and Coffee in New York now too.
Sick.
Yeah, I'm really pumped about that. I did the collab with Show Your Slabs where I did the MJ rookie with the Maryland in the background.
Yep.
I did the smaller one, and then I made a bigger piece to go on the wall to match, so it's like a companion set. And Show Your Slabs made the giant size one touch to match the small one.
Oh, that's hype, dude.
Yeah, so they brought that to the One Mint Collective in Vegas. It didn't sell there, but it stayed at Cards and Coffee. So it was in the window at the Cosmopolitan in Vegas at Cards and Coffee, and then Cards and Coffee just opened a store in New York City next door to Bleecker Trading, and they moved that piece to the New York City location.
Sick, dude.
Yeah, I'm stoked about that one too. That one's huge too because there's so much activity at Bleecker Trading. Like Ken Golden goes in there and does videos. Like it seems like almost.
Okay.
So there's definitely some.
That's a great placement.
Yeah, extremely good. I'm really stoked about that.
Okay.
Before we get going, just on some collector shit, I want to show you a couple of things that I know that you'll enjoy.
Please.
I pulled a few things out of that case. One of them.
Right on.
This is just the Ryan Sandberg Dominator.
Okay, dope.
I just pulled that out because that's like my one of my probably my only piece of like 90s, like that era, the junk era cards.
Love Ryan Sandberg.
I had to have one. This is one of those cards that like I wanted as a kid that I never had, that I had to buy as an adult. Like I'm getting one of these, you know?
Yeah, there's a Will Clark Elites card like that I have to have that I don't.
Those are cool. Those are cool.
Yeah. So I think I might have to spend money on that I don't want to spend.
This was just a frame. I'm gonna take it out the case so there's no shine. It just happens to fit in a 360.1 touch perfectly.
Oh yes, dude.
It doesn't wiggle at all. But this is a frame from Hobby Lobby that I used to frame a 1961 top stamp of my Uncle Bill.
Dude, that's killer, dude. It looks perfect in there.
Thank you. It is perfect. I had been looking forever for the right frame so that I could display it, because it's just a little thing, you know. I just whatever. I put a
and then it fits perfect in that case. Sick.
Yeah, it's somehow you pop it in the one touch. It doesn't slide around at all. It's just perfect in there. It looks so cool in there.
It looks awesome in there. Hell yeah.
So this is You see
What the
that?
hell is that? Is that you?
Yeah, dude. So check this out. So I go back to Illinois. I try to go back once a year. This past year, I finally brought my wife with me and got this. I've lived in Maine since '93. This is the first time, and since '93, I've been able to show anyone in my life, a friend or a girlfriend, or finally my wife, where I'm from.
Sure.
It was an awesome trip. Me and my buddy are having a couple beers. It's getting to be the end of the night. And we decided to go back to his house because his dad had just given him his card collection from when
All
he was a
right.
kid. His dad was like, yeah, they're cleaning the house out. I think his parents are getting ready to move. They just built a new place, and he's like, I want come and get your cards or whatever. we go down there, crack a couple beers, and start going through these boxes of cards. And he goes, "What is this?" And he pulls that out of his friggin' he pulls it out of his friggin' box. And what it is we used what would happen is on picture day, me and my friends would get our pictures and we would take them home and we would make these cards and we would bring them back the next day and we would all trade them with each other.
And so that was in that box?
That was in that box. This was last September I got this from him when I went back there. So this is
Look, bro,
it's a 1992. Like that's when I made this 1992.
you've been making card art since the 90s, bro.
So freaking funny. You can see. So like I even cut out. It's hard to tell, but like I cut out the individual letters for my last name.
Dude, yes.
Some of them have fallen off.
That's rad, dude. That's
Wild.
super rad. I would show you, yeah, because man, we would do that too. We'd clip magazine clippings out and fuse them onto our duplicate cards. And I got 2 pages worth of Will Clarks like that from 1991, man. It's freaking nuts.
That's awesome. The last thing that I've got more of them, but the last one, this is a really interesting piece. So that's Billy Klaus.
Awesome.
There's the signatures up top. You can't see the signature well, but it's a nice signature. It's got the old decal edge photo.
Yes, sick.
This is a 1 of 1 from an author named Dick Trust, who lives in like the Cape Cod area of Massachusetts, I believe. So I emailed him because I don't just collect this stuff. I also just try to catalog. I've been reaching out to people, try and get anybody that might still be alive that even has stories, maybe anything that I can get. And this guy wrote a book about Ted Williams. So I reached out to him via email, asked him if he happened to have any Klaus stuff or know anybody that would. And it turns out that he was kind of like a guy similar to you when he was young, collecting autographs and things, but he also hung out at Fenway in the ballpark with his camera. And he snapped this photo when he was like a teenager and had my uncle sign it.
Wow, dude, that is fucking awesome.
He wound up just giving it to me. And I asked him because he sent me a copy, and I'm like, boy, if you ever decide to part ways with that, please keep me in mind. And he's like, well, you know what? Why don't I just send it to you? I was, wow.
So right there, dude, okay. I've been blessed in the collecting community. They have like, oh man, this guy's really fucking dorky with the Will Clark shit, and they shower me with it, bro. Like, and I feel like it's okay, bro. Like that dude was like, that piece doesn't belong anywhere else than in your collection. And for him to just bestow that upon you, like from the kindness of his heart, that's what I'm seeing with the collecting community right now. It's really, really cool, man. And and that wasn't even something that I was experiencing outside of my group of friends. You know what I'm saying? So like I have my 6 friends, and but I didn't have friends outside the city. And then when you went to the card shops, it was you're buying shit. And when you went to the conventions, it was about buying stuff. So one of the only good things I've found from social media is been like this card collecting community.
Yeah.
and the people that participate. And yeah, and it really is a community. I feel like that. It's pretty cool because
For sure.
you make friends that way. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't fuck with people that you don't trust, and I don't know. So it's pretty dope. Hey, and on that notion, I'm gonna scan this, bro,
Dude, it's so cool.
and I'm gonna send you a super high res copy of that to your email, so you can do whatever you want with it. Okay?
That's cool. I appreciate that.
Yeah. So
I appreciate that. That's awesome.
yeah. So I appreciate you coming on, dude, and we'll cut it off right there. I'll scan that tonight. I believe. Yeah, you sent me your email through Instagram, and I appreciate you, Tom. Appreciate it, dude.